gangsters, ice skating commandos, and toxic couples, all this week on Real to Real Talk. Well, that's normal. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Real to Real Talk. I am Sergio Barrera, and it's time once again to talk all things movies. Joining me, as always, is the other Real to Real Talker, Paul Britton. Hey, we've already had a bit of a glitch, but what the hell? We're here and we're back.
We are here and back. I had a nice vacation. I'm relaxed, ready to go.
Absolutely. I am excited because last week, as we had said the last time we were together, was the 50th anniversary of one of my all-time favorite films, and that is The Godfather. This past week saw the release of another very unique gangster film we're going to talk about that we'll be reviewing today, called The Outfit. And so we thought, what the heck, let's talk gangster films, kind of shoot the breeze about them, and then of course review The Outfit along with a couple of other very interesting films. Paul, I've been excited about this episode since you've been away, because dang, what a different set, like 3 different films. I mean, wow.
Yeah, there was some good viewing, good viewing of movies. I saw The Outfit literally last night. Okay. I am definitely on, I'll call it an outfit high, I guess you could call it, just absolute. And I mean, look, we get to talk about gangster movies. And
exactly.
So,
it's going to be a fun time. Always. So, here's the thing. As I looked across several top 10 lists, top 20 lists, top 100 list of all time gangster movies, whether it was IMDb, several different movie websites, Esquire of all places. Mm-hmm. One thing I found in common was that the movies that seemed to hover at the top were almost all the same. Yeah. It was your first 2 Godfathers and Goodfellas.
Yeah. Departed will be in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, they were usually in the top 5, definitely top 10.
Yeah. Blair mentions Boys in the Hood should definitely be up in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
In my view, New Jack City needs to be up there.
Sure.
Gangs of New York for me, also very much.
You gotta. Scarface.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm very pleased to find that across a lot of these lists, within the top 5, definitely top 10, is the movie City of God, which is very intense. Not sure if you've seen it.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It is, it's a tough watch.
The Brazil, yes. I've seen it.
Yes.
Yes.
So, The Usual Suspects, and here on IMDb is one that is going to disappoint you, because the top 10, the number 10 film. I'll give you one guess.
Just skip it. We don't even need to talk about it. I'm going to say it's Lucky Number 11, because Lucky Number 11 is 50 zillion times better than the movie that they have on their list.
You're gonna put a film in its place.
Yes.
So obviously you and I have looked at the same list. So
I'm assuming it's The Irishman.
It is. And this is the bigger sin. Okay, for me.
Okay.
And I know for you, it's one ahead of Miller's Crossing.
Oh, what?
Exactly. And so no. And to Blair's question, no, Brazil, not Brazil. City of God,
Brazilian.
A movie. Is a movie from Brazil. But yeah, it was one thing to see The Irishman in the top 10, but then to see that Miller's Crossing misses the top 10 cut because of that film, and I'm like, okay, please. IMDb can go,
stop.
Yeah,
stop. People who like The Irishman need to go revisit it and tell me honestly, you know what, I liked it.
Tell us why. Yeah,
because it's I've watched it twice. It was not better on reviewing.
Yeah. Oh, you're a better man than I, because I have not gone back.
Well, I actually fell asleep halfway through the first time, so I was like, I gotta watch this again.
Gotcha. So before we discuss some of our favorites, Paul, which I think we're going to align, this will be one of those rare moments where we align on a lot of different films.
Sure.
What makes a good gangster film in your opinion?
And that, you know, I don't. I think gangster films that are successful, you absolutely have to dedicate a lot of time to developing at least one fantastic character, preferably five. Like it's just gangster films are just all about the personalities. You can get away with gangster movies that are sometimes lighter on plot.
Mhm.
Irishman is a clear exception to that, but you need to have there just have to be you and it's understood that you're not supposed to like these people. You
Right.
know, like this is not like, oh, I need three people that I like. I don't need three people that I like. It's understood they're not going to be likable, but
Right.
they have to be intriguing and they have to be
Oh, sure.
interesting.
Absolutely.
And you know, I mean, that's why you talk about the great ones. It's like, oh, The Godfather. Well, yeah, because you've got Michael Corleone and
Mhm.
obviously Vito, and it's just there's just people and characters. And another thing, I love like one-liners. I want snappy dialogue.
Sure.
You know, yeah,
Yeah. I knew it was you, Fredo. You broke my
right,
heart.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, things that the lines that stay with you. Well, as we discuss a few of our favorites, I'm going to start with one that I don't know gets enough shine. And maybe it's because it's gangster adjacent, because the
Okay.
story isn't so much about your typical gangster movie action stuff. But that is the movie Road to Perdition.
Mm,
Um, Tom
that's a gangster movie.
Hanks. Okay, all right, and that's the thing. I think it has all the elements, but then there's sort of that flick aspect to it, coming
Mhm.
of age kind of thing. But I believe it's an absolute gangster film that people should see. Road to Perdition. Just I mean, I'm having a hard time believing it's 20 years old already. Released
Yeah.
in 2002, and I can revisit that film time and time again. Not just because of the story, but because of what is really an awesome cast. Tom
Mhm.
Hanks working alongside just so many great actors. Daniel Craig makes an appearance,
Mhm.
and for some reason, like I tend to do, I forget people's names, even though I should know. Kieran Hines was in
Yeah.
this movie, and of course, the biggest star of all. For some reason, I can't come up with a name as I'm trying to. Paul Newman. Paul Newman
Okay.
makes an
Yeah.
appearance. Fantastic performance.
Yeah.
But
He
yeah,
is
so
he is dark and dirty in this one.
oh man, and such good work with dialogue in this
Uh huh.
film. You guys know me, y'all know I love talkie films, and Road to Perdition delivers on so many levels. So yeah, that's one of the ones I'm going to mention today in our discussion. So, what about you? Where are you going to take us?
I honestly like on Blair mentioned it. Like it was gonna be on the list of stuff that I wanted to make sure I that got mentioned was True Romance. It's the
Mm-hmm.
so you're talking about, is it really a gangster movie? Is it not? And Blair says is True Romance a gangster movie? It absolutely is a gangster movie. I mean,
Absolutely.
Dennis Hopper, doesn't tell the story of how the Sicilians are mixed race people and say, well, that's not really a gangster movie, though. I mean, come on, it's a gangster movie.
Yeah.
The that's the wonderful, like, you gangster is, can it's either the subgenre or, it's like you can have gangster films and weave it in with other things. Another one where Christopher Walken is uh plays a gangster, and it's, I would say it's a gangster movie, is oh boy, I'm drawing a blank. Mid 90s. I'll get it. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Who did you say?
Oh my god. Oh boy, mid 90s. Where is it? Suicide Kings. Suicide Kings is another one
Oh, absolutely.
where
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Yeah.
again, it's Christopher Walken playing a gangster. So like
Right.
these are movies that are like, they're not like hardcore gangster movies like you would expect with like The Departed or Goodfellas or whatever. But there's there's the gangster, there's the organized crime element that just
Right.
adds a level of understanding that this is a badass.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would include in that then, films like Reservoir Dogs, uh,
Sure. for sure.
Gosh, let me take you another 10 years further back. 30 years old this year. Reservoir Dogs coming out in 1992, first film
Yeah.
for Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino. An absolute favorite of mine. But again, the shunned movie on the IMDb list for me, Miller's Crossing's got to receive a nod as one of the best gangster films out there.
Sure. It would be, high on my list. I mentioned Lucky Number 11 and I wasn't being facetious. Like that's
Okay.
another one where have you seen that one?
I have.
Okay, good. I mean, Morgan Freeman, Ben Kingsley playing mob bosses. Come on. Stop. I'm in.
That's all you need.
Forget it. I'm in.
Yeah. So if you were to say, okay, I have to list, and maybe this is an unfair question, top 5 classic gangster films. What makes your list? I mean, what's your top 5?
It's the top 3 is the 3.
Like,
so are we kicking out the top 3
or
are we doing a list of, so we're just basically doing a list of 2?
I feel like I would have to look over my shoulder if we kicked off any of the top 3. But yeah, let's do that. Let's take out The Godfather, Godfather 2, and Goodfellas.
All right,
because we all know
Godfather 2 and Goodfellas. Yeah. I'm not going to do it in any order because it's too much.
That's fair.
I want to give a shout out to Gangs of New York. I know it's maligned. It's not a perfect movie, but it's a fantastic achievement in film, and it is, the good parts are as good as any movie out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to shout out to Gangs of New York.
All right. So do you want to just do 5, like rotate back and forth, 5, 5, 4, 4? Okay.
Yeah, we'll throw it back and forth.
So I've got to throw in Casino. Sorry if it's one of yours. Casino is definitely in my top 5.
Okay. I'm going with I want to do Lucky Number 11.
Okay.
That's probably my most rewatchable gangster movie.
Okay.
It's the kind of the thriller aspect, the mystery aspect, what's going on behind everything that's going on is just amazing. And Bruce Willis gives shout out to Susan who's on the chat. Bruce Willis gives just a banger of a hell of a performance. Super quiet, muted Bruce Willis.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so then I'm going to be having to say this is an honorable mention. This isn't top 5, but you mentioned Bruce Willis. This was a shoot 'em up gangster film that Bruce Willis was in, Last Man Standing. Okay. Just complete riot of a movie.
Sure.
But it had a lot of your gangster elements. So, honorable mention there.
Sure.
For my number 4, or the second one of our 5, I've got to include The Departed on my list. The Departed is just too good.
Absolutely.
On so many levels, and based on some real people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's a good one for sure. Look, Blair mentioned Miller's played in a theater when he and I worked there, and that's true. I want to shout out to another one, and I really like it. I don't watch it a lot, but Donnie Brasco is really good. Yeah. Donnie Brasco is really good.
Absolutely.
It's not super watchable. It's not something that I feel like, I need to rewatch it over and over again. I've probably only seen it about 3 times in my life. Well, but it's really good. If you haven't seen Donnie Brasco, you definitely need to give it a shot. I think it's probably one of Pacino's last great roles.
Sure. Honestly. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. All right. Well, gosh, I've got to say Scarface. It's the easy pick.
Okay.
Another 9-10 years further back.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it isn't one I can rewatch often, but when I do, I enjoy it every time.
Yeah,
some of it is cringy now, but
the performances in that one are so good. It's just so, and some of them are just hilarious. And I feel like they know they're in on the joke, except for maybe Marky Mark, who is hilarious, and I don't think he was in on the joke.
Gotcha.
Now I have a question.
Sure.
Does Heat count as a gangster movie?
Oh, that's more heist.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's more
heist. Yeah, and I was even thinking earlier, does a heist film Can you have a gangster film and a heist film? Sure. I
For
don't
sure.
think you can have a heist film and say they're always gangster films.
I agree. I
They're
agree.
just not.
I just wanted to get a ruling on it.
I
But I'm
agree.
just gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and say Usual Suspects, absolutely a gangster
Okay.
movie. Kaiser Soze, if he's not a gangster, I don't know what he
Oh,
is.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on. So yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. So many of them, the ones that I would include, have already been mentioned. I mentioned City of God earlier.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm kind of perusing this list to see, is there anything that I want to make sure we mention? Oh, The Untouchables. The Untouchables.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Definitely has to make that list.
Yeah. So I love The Untouchables, and you know my feelings on Kevin Costner.
The best actor ever. Sure.
Right. But I still love The Untouchables because it's like I saw it early enough in his career that I didn't realize he's just always Kevin Costner. So it's like it's like, okay, I'm cool with this because it's not it's not like, oh god, it's Kevin. It's like he's Elliot Ness. And
Right.
and also Sean Connery. Oh my god.
Right, exactly. I mean, his only Oscar. This movie is not so much about Kevin Costner as it is about the overall broader story, and a fantastic performance by Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've realized is we've tried to do this is that if you take the Godfather 1 and 2 and Goodfellas out of the mix, there's a lot of movies that can make the list just because I enjoy them. And so I'm going to mention this one purely because it is one of those movies that from the day I saw it, I have been able to watch over and over and over again and always enjoy it. And so it's going to get into my top 5 for today. And that is Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it again tonight after we finish, because
that was one of our early podcast movies.
Absolutely.
Last year, I remember it came out very, very early last year, and we were both madly in love.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't get to do my other one. My last one.
Go ahead. Go for it.
American Gangster with
just watched it again.
Denzel
Washington. Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
And here's the thing is I feel bad because we didn't really hit anything from like the 1940s.
Right. And there's so many.
Yeah. And there are so many. The interesting thing about the early gangster movies is that none of them ever got away with anything.
Right.
Because there was code. Like there was a movie code that if you broke a law, you could not get away with it. Like you had to pay for your crime. So like Public Enemy, James Cagney gets off in the end. Like all of that, every single old school gangster movie for black and white from the 30s and 40s ends with the people not getting away with it. Whereas part of what modern gangster movies is it's like actually they kind of sometimes do get away with it, and more than just sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, having said that, and so thankful that you brought American Gangster into the mix, because it is one of my absolute favorite movies. Just wonderful film. But I meant to ask you this, and this is how quickly a movie can fall out of a top 5, and when you take out the top 3. No Country for Old Men, Gangster.
Oh yeah. I would say yes.
Watched it again last night.
It's hard to have like a movie where there's like a person who does hit jobs, a hitman movie that doesn't involve the government, that isn't a gangster movie. Like it's very infrequently that it's like there's a hitman and he's hired by like a dude,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, I was gonna say that film, absolutely love Joel and Ethan Coen stepping outside of their norm for that one, and Javier Bardem, of course, winning the Oscar for was it Best Supporting? I think it was, or was it Best Actor?
No,
he won the Oscar that year. Yeah,
Blair needs to really stop standing My Blue Heaven because that movie sucks.
Well, so the list is endless. We could probably just keep calling out movies, and we would both agree that they're great. But we had an opportunity to watch The Outfit. From the trailer, you knew it was a gangster film. And so as I went in to watch this film, there were a couple things I was excited about. Number one, the genre, obviously, since that's our topic. But number two, I'm a big fan of Mark Rylance. This movie, I was just gushing And when I came out of this film for so many reasons, because it
Mhm,
really put together things that for me I look for in a movie. Number one, great dialogue. Number
mhm,
two, a story that builds, and that even if you start to figure out bits and pieces of it, it still delivers with a punch.
mhm, mhm.
Because I think the writers want you to get there before the end of the film. You know what I'm saying?
I
Um,
absolutely. It's
and the
it
acting was phenomenal.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's this is a great example because you mentioned, heist movies can sometimes be gangster movie. This is a thriller.
Yes.
This you can take the gangster out of this movie and incorporate other ideas and still have a really good movie.
Hmm.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be a gangster movie. I mean, obviously, it's pretty deeply interwoven into the whole thing.
Hmm.
But um, it's definitely a thriller that happens to be a gangster movie,
Right.
and I mean, it's really edge of your seat. Like I definitely, in the last last 15 minutes, I would say, like the whole time during the movie, I'm sitting back, and then I definitely I remember
Hmm.
the part where I just sat up and I was like, oh, I'm in. I just
Oh
need
yeah.
to. I can't wait for the ending of this, and got to the edge of my seat literally. So.
This is a movie that manages to have so many of the thriller slash gangster tropes, and yet they don't feel overused. They don't feel like, okay, here we go again.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
just such a clever movie. And let me tell you something. There is something here that has to do with this cast. Not the best known. Even Mark Rylance doesn't always get the recognition, but people like Zoe Deutsch, who daughter of Leah Thompson, Dylan O'Brien is Richie Boyle, but the actor that just jumped off the screen for me was Francis, Johnny Flynn, the
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
You talk about tying acts one and two together
Mm,
so beautifully. This cast made this movie, in my opinion.
for sure. For sure. And the, this is a great example of a movie that just if the script doesn't work, this movie is nowhere. Like
Yeah.
this movie just absolutely is impeccably written, and the timing and everything is
Hmm.
is impeccable, and the way they lace everything in. There was a moment towards the end of Act Two when we're first introduced to uh, when we first introduced to the big boss,
Hmm.
and Mark Rylance's character, his speech changed a little bit for just for a moment,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and it was so unexpected, and um just but perfect. It was
Yeah.
clearly there on purpose. It was not an accident
Right.
because of how everything else ties in, and it was just like, and that's why this is the difference between this and something like Nightmare Alley, where Nightmare Alley, I knew exactly what was going to happen at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. With no doubt in my mind, exactly how it was going to play out. And for me, that was sort of like took me out of the movie a little bit just because of
Okay.
how they telegraphed the ending.
Right.
Whereas this one, it was like I knew kind of where this was going,
Sure.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know how it was going to get there, and I was excited and happy to go on that journey.
Yeah. So many movies do they do the, oh, it's resolved, and then wait, there's a twist. And there's a point in this film where all of the pieces are getting tied up very nicely, and then you get some really continually intense acting
Mhm.
as things play out in the final denouement of the film.
Yeah.
And as it was over, I sat there in the theater thinking to myself, Mark Rylance went on such an amazing arc
Yeah.
from from I don't even want to say because I don't want to give away, but he portrayed so many levels of demureness and just cleverness It was just so well. This whole film was so well put together that it didn't outstay its welcome in terms of, it moved quickly, but it was efficient in telling the story. When this film was done, I was like, okay, the moment I can buy this movie, it goes on my shelf digitally,
Yeah.
because I'm going to revisit it. It is so well put together. There's
The-
and listen, if you don't know the difference between a tailor and a cutter, you got to watch this film.
I had no idea.
You got to watch this film because
Yeah.
what a wonderful weaving of a
Yeah.
craft
Yeah.
throughout this film.
And so many scenes where it's just two people talking to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many scenes where it's just two people talking to each other,
Yeah.
more often than not sitting down, and it's just
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
and captivating. Like at no point is it like, oh, this is like, it doesn't, it never, it's all purposeful, it's all interesting, and
Yeah.
it all totally works. And yeah.
The last comment I'll make, Graham Moore, who directed this film, has something with eyes,
Mm.
and it just works. If you look at the way in which he shoots the subjects, and I remember this because you mentioned about how it's almost always two people in dialogue,
Yeah.
so many scenes. He has this way of framing faces to where you're drawn to the eyes of the character.
Yes.
And that's the captivating part of it. You can't get away from, and you have to pay attention to the discussion. It, it's just, it was a brilliantly put together film, and I really want people to watch it. It's gotten fantastic reviews,
Mhm.
88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just uh, great reviews, and golly, so early in the season for next year, but yeah.
It's look, this is a great movie, but it's not like Oscar bait in any way, shape, or form. It's not. It's just not,
And that
and that's
frustrates me
okay.
because there's some great
Sure,
acting here and some great
sure,
writing. So
sure. I will be tickled pink if it's in the
if it's
conversation for
remembered,
anything.
yeah,
Will not be.
yeah,
Just
that's
will not be.
unfortunate.
But
That's
that's
unfortunate.
okay.
Yeah. Well, Paul, we'll start with you. This, as you guys know, those who are watching, every week when we rate movies, we give films a 1 to 5 taco rating. A movie can get as many as 5 tacos, but if you want to throw some extra love, you can put on some guac for the outfit. Paul, what is your taco rating?
4 tacos, heavy guac.
All right.
Yeah, it's really good, folks. We can't talk this one up too much.
Absolutely. Well, you know me. I'm going no guac, but 5 tacos for sure.
Sure.
Just so much to love about this movie, and I really hope people get out to watch it because it is fantastic. So make sure you catch the outfit in theaters, and you won't regret it. So
Right.
also, make sure you catch us on social media. Stop by our Facebook page at Real to Real Talk. Say hello, make a comment, tell us what you're watching, tell us what you want us to talk about in the future, and catch up on our past episodes. Also on Instagram at Real to Real Talk. You can check out our show posters so you know what we've talked about in these last few weeks, months, and years and such. And on YouTube, we thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button so that you know when our episodes land. That notification bell will help as well. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, we thank you for joining us here as well, week to week. We appreciate it. With that, we're going to go to one of my favorite segments of the show. It's called What the Hell Did I Just Watch? Paul, I'll turn it over to you.
So, in our gangster conversation, you know what we didn't mention and remotely enough of is actual genuinely funny gangster movies.
Sure.
For example, Get Short. Blair mentioned too, Get Shorty, Midnight Run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw out Sylvester Stallone's Oscar in there,
Yeah.
which is just
funnier than it should be.
It's so much. It's so good. It is
Yeah.
so good. Great, fantastic gangster movie.
That makes me happy to hear you say that.
Yeah. You know what's not ever going to get mentioned in that of actual funny gangster movies is the movie I watch, which is called The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. So this is a movie made in 1971, year before beloved Godfather,
Mm-hmm.
starring Robert De Niro.
Really?
Ooh, yes, Robert De
Wow.
Niro. And it's a very early Robert De Niro. He plays the role of an Italian bicyclist. We'll get to that. And his role was originally supposed to be for Al Pacino. But Al Pacino ended up getting Al Pacino wanted to be in The Godfather.
Yeah.
He they were dragging their feet. He's like, well, look, I'm not going to just fucking sit here. I got to work.
Right.
I'm not bringing in money. So he went and signed on for The Gang That Couldn't Shoot. They had to buy out his contract
Oh
from
man.
MGM for The Gang That Couldn't Shoot straight to get Al Pacino in The Godfather.
Wow.
And then Robert De Niro came in and took his spot. The lead is Jerry Orbach, who you would know from Law and Order.
Law and Order,
yeah. Sure. And just not a good movie. Like literally, you sometimes ask me how do I find these movies, and I literally was like, okay, I don't have like a gangster movie on my backlog of movies that I need to watch. So I just literally worst gangster movies of all time, and as charming and wonderful an experience as Gotti would have been, I'm sure I went with number 2 on the list because I felt it was probably going to be more in league with what I normally go for here, and it was.
Sure.
I mean, this is just like they're definitely going for madcap. Okay, they are definitely going for what Oscar does successfully, but they're completely unsuccessful. And the interesting thing is, it's based on a book by Jimmy Breslin.
Oh,
so it's like the source material can't be terrible, right?
Not bad, yeah.
I mean, and yet they just end up with this movie that's just, like they never like they start with a semi-amusing running gag where like all the gangsters when they walk into a room say hey to each other, so it's just like people constantly saying hey to each other, and then they drop it. It's like, well, no, just keep doing that, but then eventually like call out how annoying it is or something, so the conceit is that Jerry Orbach, who plays mid-level gangster kid Sully, works for the Bacala gang, and he wants a better. He doesn't like where he's at, and he wants to move up. And so the guy, the lead gangster, the head gangster, the Godfather, whatever, Bacala says, "Okay, you put on a. I've been wanting to host a bicycle race, an international bicycle race in Brooklyn. You put on the international bicycle race in Brooklyn, and I'll move you up." So the way Robert De Niro ends up in this movie is he is the Italian representative in this international bicycle race. Needless to say, the gangsters don't put on a successful international bicycle race. So the head gangster is going to now kill his mid-level guy. Not kill, I'm sorry. He is going to demote his mid-level guy to being his driver. And so the mid-level guy decides he wants to kill his boss. And that's where the gangster that couldn't straight then, because like he takes his small little pot of gang to like kill other people, but they either kill the wrong people or or don't kill anybody at all. Like there are multiple funerals. Like one of the running gags that is actually kind of funny is there are multiple funerals throughout the thing because people keep dying, and like they comment on, oh, who's at the funeral? And they're like, oh, they got Mrs. Baclia or whatever. She's the best mourner in all of Brooklyn and stuff. There's it is so, if you are sensitive to Italians being misrepresented in movies, don't watch this movie because this is not going to make you feel good about anything. But
didn't age well.
Yeah. And also, if you like movies that make you laugh, don't watch this one either because it's not going to do it. If you like movies that treat animals humanely, again, this is not the one for you. So
so many strikes against it.
Oh, it's got so many strikes against it. I can see why it was number 2 on the list of the 10 worst gangster movies of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And what did you say number 1 was?
On the list that I saw, it was Gotti with
Travolta or with
Travolta.
Oh yeah, yeah, I have to agree. Not
Really
good. Oh yeah, not good.
interesting.
Not good.
But I didn't
How
think
do
it
you
would really.
take compelling, um, a compelling person and
Yeah.
make them boring? It's like, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bad film. All right. Well, Paul, thank you as always for bringing us the weirdest of the weird
Yeah.
and sometimes the unfunny here for
Yeah.
What the Hell Did I Just Watch? So,
I'm telling you, man, I could probably just do 60s and early 70s comedies
yeah,
and just never run out of material for this because that
it's
shit's
out
just
there.
not funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Does not
Absolutely.
translate for some
Not.
reason.
All right. Well, we'll always be looking forward to What the Hell Did I Just Watch? Week to week, you can catch Paul here. Make sure you do and figure out what not to watch, but then watch it just to form your own opinion. So,
Robert De Niro, man. It's
hey, there
if
you
you
go.
need
I
any
wonder how he
reason.
feels about this being on his filmography.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because he went from doing this street. Like, are
Right.
you fucking
Yeah.
kidding me?
Exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, it is time now for this week's real quick reviews. And Paul, listen, I try to plan these things and format them before we do them. I couldn't decide which one we should go with first because we're going to talk about a movie called Black Crab and a movie called Deep Water. I feel
Let's do Deep Water.
Thank you. Okay, because I didn't want to end on the low that this is going to take us to. So real quick review: Deep Water, Adrian Lyne's latest, known for Fatal Attraction. Gosh, there were a couple of other films that he's known for. This was Unfaithful was another one of his.
Right.
This was a movie that several articles I read after watching it talked about how this was sort of an attempt to return to sort of the erotic thrillers of years past. And I just don't think we need to do that if this is how we're going to do it. Because this movie, it was effective in certain ways. But Paul, I'm really curious to know what you think.
First of all, I believe this movie's in on what it's trying to do. Like, okay, so Adrian Lyne, let's just mention the movies that he's done. Indecent Proposal, Fatal Attraction, Flashdance, Unfaithful, Lolita, the 1997 Lolita. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
And there are some aspects of this movie that are genuinely fantastic. Like the chemistry between Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas is
fantastic,
fucking off the charts.
I don't know if you agree, but his performance to me was
Ben
great.
Affleck's performance and Armas's the performances of the two leads off the charts. The performances of everybody else, with the exception of his two good friends, Dash Mihawk and Lil Rel Howlerly. His two friends are really funny and good and provide excellent comic relief and are good.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just not on the same page, just not up there. Like it's really tough to have these two actors doing such good work and then everybody else just like they're in a what's his name that made Showgirls movie, and like
Verhoeven?
Verhoeven. So everybody else is in a Verhoeven movie, and Ben Affleck and Armas are in a Lynn movie, and they're not the same thing. It's just
not at all. Yeah.
But I thought they did a really good job of setting. The other thing I really liked is I thought they did a really good job of setting up a potentially interesting relationship that maybe everybody else just doesn't get because they're a prude and don't get it. And but then it turns into, no, actually, he actually is a jealous jerk. And that's the aspect of it that I didn't so much like.
Well, and the fact that it was marketed as this sort of, it wasn't marketed as if he wasn't okay with things. You know what I'm saying? There were certain elements of how it was presented that they wanted you to think that this was this sort of progressive couple that things are different, but okay. And pick a topic. It's either
Right.
you want to present a murder story, or
You could present a murder story. You could have this couple in the middle
sure,
of a murder story, and there's a way to get there
right,
and still be different, and it just ends up not being different
yeah.
until the very, very, very last scene, which is the last shot, which is a really good last shot.
It
But
is. Yeah. Yeah. But let me tell you, the minutes right before it, I was like, what just happened? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I must say, it fucked up a really great last scene.
yeah.
So,
It's I feel like the it's not the sum of its parts. Maybe if they just made it 90 minutes
yeah.
and just made everything circumstantial with if you make this entire movie 100% circumstantial without showing anything.
Right.
And so you just go 90 minutes of circumstance, and then in the last scene you show the one
The
thing that's
reality.
not
Yeah.
circumstantial, and you show that as your last scene. You have a fucking amazing movie.
Right.
But unfortunately, they crowd the third act with, all right, this is everything that's happened. And it's like I liked it better. I like it better not seeing all that.
Not
Like
no. Yeah.
you can get away without seeing all of that.
Right. Right.
I there's a fan fucking tastic movie here that
Yeah.
that shows way too much.
There's a
But
part of me. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead. You
I
go.
was going to say there's a part of me that also thinks that it suffers from making so many of the characters outside of Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas so unrelatable, because they were these posh people having these dinner parties constantly and this and that. And I'm like, if I could, this movie could have had a fewer characters and fewer party moments, and you would have still gotten the gist. All you needed to do was show a lunch, like they did on a couple of scenes, or there was just so much that made me not care about the other characters that surrounded these two great performances, aside
Yeah.
from those people's performances,
Yeah.
from a story standpoint. So yeah.
And god damn, it was a hot fucking movie. If you literally your only intent when you go to sit down and watch some movies is, I just really want to be turned on for a couple hours, this movie's going to do that for
It
you.
accomplishes that. Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
what your preference is, what your sexual preferences are at all. If you're not turned on by both of these people, I don't know what the fuck to do for you.
Yeah.
Because
This is what Adrian Lyne is great at.
yeah.
If you think about his filmography, and it's been 20 years since Unfaithful, okay?
Right.
And this is why I was so hopeful going into this movie. He captures moments of his brilliance. It's just not a complete picture that you would expect from him.
I want to say it again because it bears repeating. There is an amazing 90-minute movie where they don't reveal a goddamn thing that happens.
Yeah.
And you have an amazing movie. Sometimes you just don't want to reveal anything. And and especially that goes with the theme, because it's just constantly tease. And then the end is you have that banger of a last scene that is just an amazing last scene, and that's the reveal, and that's it, and that's how you end the movie. And then you're like, like, because I love the first act. The first act was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so. There's so much good, but so much that kept it from being just really, really solid. Yep. So for the movie Deep Water, Paul, what is your taco rating?
I have a hard time with this one. I want to give it 3 tacos. It's better than 2, but it's not quite 3 tacos. I'm going to go 2 with guac, but the guac isn't really that good, I guess. It's just kind of like average guac.
Gotcha. I'm going to keep 2 with guac up because that's my rating as well. Okay. This movie, like you said, there's a great movie here. It didn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want to, just again watch it for the titillation of it all, it's worth a watch.
It's definitely worth the watch.
You can find it on Hulu. The movie is Deep Water, so make sure you check it out and let us know what you think.
I would have bought tickets for this movie.
Would you?
happily would
Gotcha.
have, yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I
I
would
didn't
have
mean to
left the
ask you that.
movie very happy. So it's definitely worth checking out if you already have Hulu.
Yeah, definitely worth watching. Our final review of the night is going to be a very interesting Swedish film. You can find it on Netflix. It is called Black Crab.
Yeah.
Paul, we didn't get a chance to talk before we decided to watch this movie and talk about it. You just said, "Hey, here's what I want to talk about." How'd you find this movie?
I have a thing that tells me when movies are coming out.
Gotcha.
And it was on the list, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I saw Noomi Rapace was in it, and I was like, "Well,
Oh, that's right. That's
I'm
right.
watching this movie."
We did talk about that. Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what it's about. I'm watching this movie. And then I watched the trailer, and it was shooting on ice skates, and I was like, "I'm really fucking watching this
Yeah.
movie."
Listen, I watched the trailer too, and yeah, you know me in action movies, it don't take much. But if you're going to tell me that the commandos in this movie have to travel on ice skates, then I'm
Yeah.
right there. I'm
Yeah,
right there on
I
the
am
front row.
so right there. So right there.
So okay, so let's talk about Black Crab. Again, you can find it on Netflix. And gosh, I don't know that you'll be surprised at all, Paul. I loved this movie. I really enjoyed it.
I am not the least bit surprised. This movie is a great example of a movie that just shits all over its script and story and says, "We don't care. We're just doing this thing anyway.
We got ice skate commandos. I mean,
This is they're on ice skates. Yeah, they're gonna get
No.
through. They're gonna hit some thin ice.
Yeah.
And fucking deal with it, bitches. We're not gonna tell you.
No, I will say it's not 5 tacos kind of love. Okay.
No.
The rating that I give it will sort of probably, even it all out. But
Yeah.
there were some tension moments in this movie that were so beautifully done.
Yeah.
If you're gonna send your commandos across, a sea of ice,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to have the requisite thin ice scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it was done in clever fashion.
Yeah.
There were some scenes of the travel scenes where they encounter the enemy. Yeah, the gist of the movie is that there is some form of civil war somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's an opening scene that sort of sets up the emotional moment that is now going to drive our main character, played by Noomi Rapace.
Right.
And then it flashes forward, and now all of a sudden she's, part of this group of fighters.
Yeah.
That is, trying to gain the upper hand against the enemy, whoever that is, right?
Yeah.
There's one last mission that they can probably do because, one more attack and their side is gonna lose, and so they're sent. And the only way to get where they're going is to cross a body of water. And so they have to, they get the best skaters out there, I guess, is what I got from the film.
And why is Noomi Rapace known as one of the best skaters out there?
No one knows.
We don't
One
know.
of them was a hockey player. One of them was a hockey player. Right.
So
right.
But Noomi Rapace, why is she and not just like the best? It's like clearly the other people are going to slow her down, but she can't go alone. So she's just going to have to deal with it. Like that is literally how they set it up without saying, "Oh, by the way, she was, an Olympic gold medal figure skater or something like that." We get nothing.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think we're giving anything away too much by saying that the way in which she's hooked into this is her daughter has been abducted by the enemy. Right. The thing that for me was missing from the setup was we did, again, because of how her character was placed, we didn't get to see what the other motivators were for the people who were joining her as part of this group of 6.
We get a little bit from
but
person.
very little. But you knew from the outset where this was headed.
Yeah.
In terms of that portion of the storyline. So if you take out some pretty cool action sequences, there's not much of a movie here.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's interesting because as you mentioned, there's a mysterious civil war going on somewhere. Obviously, it's Sweden because they're speaking Swedish, and Swedish is not a universal language or anything.
Right?
It's in Sweden. I mean, if you were going into this wanting to know what are they fighting about, who's fighting whom, if you want to know anything about the conflict, you are going to be sorely
Very
disappointed.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like another hook for me is the description of the movie says in a post-apocalyptic
Right.
civil war. It's like, I fucking love post-apocalyptic movies.
Yeah.
I did want more. Like, I definitely wanted to know what was the bigger going. You just don't get any of it.
And the mistake of using that to describe the movie is that this was post-apocalyptic when you find out there's going to be a post-apocalyptic, or there's going to be a post-apocalyptic.
Right. There's good. If there was already an apocalypse, there's another one coming.
There's one coming. Yeah.
Oh man. And some of the best parts of this movie genuinely were the Numi Rapace flashback scenes.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you had doubled the number of flashback scenes to add more context to what's going on with the plot, like, you could actually get a genuinely good movie out of this.
Sure.
But you're going to have to cut some of the silliness, and they clearly just wanted the silliness, and that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I think they leaned into the silliness enough for me to go, okay, fine, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. At no point did I say, "Oh, this movie sucks." I definitely thought, "Oh, this is not a great movie," but
but I'm going to watch it till the end.
I am going to enjoy myself during this entire movie. Yeah.
There's some impressive shooting, some night shooting across, an icy surface. There's some
Numi Rapace is way too fucking naive for somebody who's supposed to not be as seasoned as she's supposed to be.
Right.
There was another movie that I just watched that a similar thing happened, where it was like, seriously, you didn't see that coming, and it's like, come on,
we all saw it. Yeah. Again, not the most complete film out there, but enough for me to say definitely a recommend. So for the movie Black Crab, and you gotta like what you got, unless you know Swedish, you gotta like reading subtitles, which I'm okay with.
I actually started, and it gave me dub to begin with, and
did it?
The first like 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And like, it was a really good dub because it was Numi Rapace doing the dub. Okay. So I thought, well, this is interesting. Is some of this in English? And then like they started showing people, and it was like, oh, okay, this is definitely not. And so I had to pause it and figure out what was going on.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Got my subtitles going. But so if you don't like reading subtitles, you can watch a dub version. It's
gotcha. Okay, cool.
I'm not going to think less of anybody who wants to watch a dub version of Black Crab. I think you're okay.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll start this time around.
Sure.
I'm going to give this one 2+ really good guac.
You're only going 2+ guac.
Yeah, because again, 3 for me means that every element of the story managed to work together.
Okay.
There were just pieces of it that were such gaping holes that I was like, I can't do it. But I enjoyed it. These are 2 really good tacos with some really good guac that I'll pay extra for if I have to. That is my rating for.
I'm going 3 Taco Bell tacos. Like, just
there you go. Wow.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's
take it or leave it.
Good enough. And if you want tacos, here are 3 tacos.
That's right.
But don't expect these to be really good tacos.
Yeah. This is the kind of movie you have to go in with the right expectation for it to work. Yeah. And that's why I'm not going to build it up any further.
Right. Don't let Numi Rapace being in it make you think that this is like some work of art.
Which is hilarious because you were so all in because of that.
So all in. But I'm good. It was Numi Rapace. I'm totally 100% good.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's always fantastic. So, all right. Well, this weekend is the 94th presentation of the Academy Awards.
Right.
And what a field and what a year it's been for awards. I'm really curious to see how it's all going to turn out. So we'll talk about that next week, Paul.
Yep.
And we are also going to talk about what?
I don't know.
Have we decided?
We were going to do Everything Everywhere all at once. Yes. Except it's not playing in South Florida next week.
Really?
This weekend. Yeah.
Oh, well, I should check to see where it was playing. Okay, well, as soon as it comes out, we'll be ready to talk about it. The minute it
comes out, we're usually 1 week or 2 weeks behind, so.
Gotcha. Okay, well, definitely join us again next week for a discussion on the Academy Awards results.
It's going to be Tuesday. We're doing Tuesday, right?
Correct. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So next week, special day, special time,
Tuesday.
7 p.m. Tuesday evening. Our social media will let you know and remind you
Yeah.
to review the results of the Academy Awards.
Yeah, because Academy Awards recap on Thursday is
No, it's too
utterly
far.
pointless.
It's too far
Yeah,
out. Too
yeah.
far out.
So
So, yeah,
Tuesday.
absolutely. So make sure you join us next week, Tuesday, for our look at the Academy Award results. Looking forward to it, Paul.
Any chance
as
we could get
always.
Kristen?
We will. Hopefully, she's watching. If not, I'll make sure to email her and we'll have her join us. So
I really want her enthusiasm on this one.
I agree. So we will figure all that out. Keep an eye on our social media for more news regarding next week's episode. Paul, as always, it has been an absolute blast. Thank you for an awesome time.
Yeah. I ditto, Sergio. This was fun.
A lot of
fucking
fun.
Black Crab, man. Are you kidding me?
Oh, so much fun to watch. But I am gonna go and watch me a gangster film.
Sweet.
And enjoy my evening. So with that in mind, we also want to say thank you to all of you for watching. We thank you for joining us week to week. We look forward to having you join us next week. And remember, most importantly, you're awesome. You're amazing. And the world's a better place because you are in it. We'll see you next time on Real to